We're live on the Rich Lieberman Media Pulse. I'm going to talk about because a lot of you have been sending me emails and texts and so forth about what's going on at KTVU. And look, folks, this station is an embarrassment. They're clueless. Of course they are. What else is new, as the headline says? They've been putting on solo anchors. I guess they've been doubling and tripling down with Mike Meback, who doesn't know shit, who has been rejected by viewers, who couldn't lead a hooker to a strip show. They keep going with, and it's not just him, with Mike Meback. They have the wrong people on, and they don't know what the hell they're doing because they have no leadership. They have no people who are responsible for putting out the product and making sure that the station is humming and running, or at least on the mark for doing just a basic newscast. Instead, they've gone gimmicky. They've become an albatross. They're lucky they're owned by Fox itself, an albatross. And I'm not talking about Fox, the Fox cable. I'm talking about the over-the-air Fox that has, successful programs, albeit some pedantic and ridiculous and sort of sophomoric and very Rupert Murdoch-esque kind of programming, but that's another story. KTVU, its Bay Area owned operated station, is a pathetic mess. The news department, which used to be the hallmark, envy of not just local newsrooms, but beyond, national, because they had great reporters and great anchors, few outsiders that weren't that great, but they were special. And 10 o'clock news used to be a legacy TV newscast, and now it's fallen into the abyss, and it's the shits. It's been the shits for now a couple of years. They kept aboard Julie Hayner, eventually told her to get lost, which she did. Frank Somerville, they haven't recovered from. They had to get rid of Somerville. I understand that now. We've had him on here, but that was something to which they had to fish and cut bait, kind of a thing. And now they have these hangers on like Bill Martin, who does the weather allegedly when he's not stuttering and going on sports talk shows and talking about his baby surfing or whatever the fuck that he does. But Channel 2 has been the shits. So they've been running me back solo. They had Heather Holmes on solo. And by the way, she's pissed off. They're all pissed off. They show up there. Most of these people are mercenaries. I'm talking mostly the on-air people, anchors. They had what I thought would be a successful duo to take over for the Somerville Hayner bye-byes, Alex Savage and Heather Holmes. I told you about it exclusively right here. Remember that about a year ago? Instead, they felt guilty, I guess. They wanted to give half of that posting, that anchorship, to pathetic Mike Meback, who looks like a gym teacher from Fresno. He's just not the guy. And as I said, they're doubling down, tripling down, keep putting him on so they can justify the fact they still think he's got some kind of life. He does not. He gets rejected, especially amongst women viewers. Frankly, the only real core of viewers that still watch local TV news, unfortunately. But that's another story. So they've been going with Meback, soloing him, and Heather Holmes, who's pissed off. How pissed off? She's been going around a very, very steady stream of stations here. She wants out of Channel 2. They've told her repeatedly, and this is multiple administrations, be patient with us, Heather. You got the gig. You're going to take over for Julie Hayner, and you're going to become a part of a newly minted Channel 2 10 o'clock news. Well, that hasn't been taking place. They've just been shuffling anchor after anchor. That's on that front. So you have and they hired Betty Yu, who they gave about 250,000 dollars, which is not a lot of money. Used to be that was what reporters make, but they gave Betty U about 250 grand, took her, poached her from KPIX, put her on at Channel 2, and guess what? There's nothing been taking place. They had a modest bump when she first started. She's been doing a lot of anchoring, fill in, but she hasn't moved the needle. I'm sorry to say this, and I've complimented her in the past. I think she's a dynamite anchor, excuse me, dynamite reporter. As an anchor, she's rather bland. She just doesn't have that it factor, as I've often cited. She does a credible job. She's sort of bland, maybe too bland, but there's no there. So that hiring, which by the way caused a lot of angst at Channel 2, it's like, well, why are you giving her all this money? She doesn't do anything. Well, they're right. She hasn't done anything so far. And it ain't gonna get any better. So they have that going on. And then they put on these various, pop-ins, like who I like, by the way, Christina Rendon, but I've come to acknowledge the fact that she's a little bit too staid, STAID, just a little bit too underwhelming. And, look, that's just the facts. It's not just an opinion, because if were the anything opposite, they would have probably have put her on, full time Monday through Friday and not on the weekend. So you have that. And then there's suddenly, in an area which they used to be very, very successful and still are, the morning, you have now morning ranker, because the ratings have dipped. They keep threatening to make Sal Castaneda a star. Sal is a great weather. Well, he could do the weather. A traffic anchor. That's about it. They're injecting Sal into their little other stupid programs like Believe It or Not, which is a ludicrous, insanely stupid, pathetic, pedantic, moronic show that has all sorts of what I call Fox tentacles. What's that? They're trying to make up some program with these various anchors that are not interesting. We don't know these people. Frankly, I don't want to know these people. You, the viewers, have indicated to me the same feelings that I have. In order to have a show like that, you need to care about the people that are on the show. To give you an analogy, a lot of you women, frankly, like watching The View. But the reason why The View gets ripped a lot is because it's kind of the same jargon, but people know those women who are hosting on The View, and they've built up a pretty good brand. They have a very successful program, and I'm not crazy about it, but anyway, I call it the kvetchers, the Yenta kvetchers, whatever. It still has an audience. KTVU is basically trying to do gimmickry programming, and maybe it's a Fox edict, whatever. The show is just bad. It's bad. It doesn't do anything, and these people and they're making them trying. Garcia, for God's sakes, do something better. If they're pushing you to do this show, okay, maybe you have an excuse. Get off of it. Tell them, that you have to go babysitter. I don't know. Make up something. But these people, and Sal Castaneda, who sits there and says nothing and then chimes in eventually. Believe it or not, this show is bad. I believe it. But anyway, KTVU, they're lucky that they have football from the NFL, because a lot of their lead in a strong, pretty strong for the most part, a Fox built up programming, so that many of times their news follows a popular Fox show. I was going to say The Simpsons. That's on Sundays, but you know what I'm saying. They have these programs some people still watch on Fox. That said, KTVU right now is a disaster. I keep saying this and I keep repeating myself, but it really is a disaster now. And they try these new things. They're the shits. Why don't you just try to beef up your reporters? Do basic, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Maintain the integrity that's still left of the 10 o'clock news, concentrating on getting people other than that asshole, overblown, over whatever, me back, and senior, who's boring. Speaking of boring, get some real people, you know, get some secondary people that are legit. You know, Bill Martin, for God's sakes, Bill, get the hell out of here. You're boring. You're stealing money. You know it, Bill. Come on. Come on. And the glasses and the mumbling. Oh my God, you're making Roberta Gonzalez look totally legit. And by the way, Roberta Gonzalez, compared to Bill Martin, is basically, a brunette uh, Diane Sawyer. It's just not fun to watch. So when I get people telling me, "Oh, you're watching Channel 2, they have solo anchors, or they have Hayner is not there anymore, so they put on Heather Holmes." But no, now they don't have Heather Holmes on. She's solo anchoring. Then they have me back. Then they have Alex Savage. Here's what you do, Channel 2, with regards to 6 and 10 and 11. Just make it official. Alex Savage and Heather Holmes. That's your best duo. Put me back on at noon. Let them do some reporting in the field. Okay. Just understand what the situation is. Maintain the little presence that you have. But for God's sakes, KTVU, grab yourself. You're not watchable anymore. Believe it or not. I believe it.